All right, good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. Our topic for today is empty your cup and free yourself from worry. But before we get going, I want to give my friends an opportunity to introduce themselves, and I want to give you the opportunity to get over to the page where you can comment and add your thoughts to the conversation as we go along. So if you're watching, go ahead and jump over to SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. Again, that is SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. That'll bring you over to our blog page where we have a live broadcast, and you can scroll down to the bottom and add your comments. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to give my friends an opportunity to introduce themselves, and then we can get this thing going. I guess I'll start with me because I didn't introduce myself, did I? I'm Samantha Studebaker-Carl, and I'm broadcasting to you live from beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana. And, okay, so go ahead, guys, introduce yourselves.
Good morning. This is Catherine Clement in Boulder, Colorado, and looking forward to today's discussion. Thanks for coming. I can't hear you.
I'll jump out there, and it looks like we lost Sandy, but I'm Dan Sisek, and I'm in hot Las Vegas because we're getting up into the 90s and 100s now, and I'm loving it. My kind of weather. I'm loving this. Everybody else is like, oh, it's so hot already. I'm like, no, perfect. So ready to get into the discussion.
Can't hear Sandy. I'll go ahead and I'll say I'm hanging out. Donna Allen hanging out from Raleigh, North Carolina. Look forward, as Dan said, to the discussion. Missed the last 2 weeks, and interesting verse.
Hi, okay, this is Christopher Camp from Chicago. Glad to be here, and we missed you, Donna, and it's going to be a nice morning. The weather's just moderate here.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for jumping out there and introducing yourselves, and hopefully Sandy will get back on and her sound will work right. Okay, so right now what we've been doing, we're actually on chapter, what is it, 20, guys? We're on chapter 20. I think that's what we're on. I should be more prepared, right?
Yes, chapter 20.
Chapter 20. Okay, so chapter 20 of the book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao by Wayne Dyer. And chapter 20 talks about verse 20 of the Tao Te Ching. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and read this verse, and then we can talk about it, and everybody can share their thoughts on what they think it means, and talk about the commentary that Wayne gave us as well. Who would like to read the verse for today?
I will.
Okay, jump that, Dan.
Okay. It's the 20th verse. Give up learning, and you will be free from all your cares. What is the difference between yes and no? What is the difference between good and evil? Must I fear what others fear? Should I fear desolation when there is abundance? Should I fear darkness when that light is shining everywhere? In spring, some go to the park and climb the terrace, but I alone am drifting, not knowing where I am. Like a newborn babe before it learns to smile, I am alone, without a place to go. Must people have too much? I alone seem to be missing something. Mine is indeed the mind of an ignoramus, in its unadulterated simplicity. I am but a guest in this world. While others rush about to get things done, I accept what is offered. I alone seem foolish, earning little, spending less. Other people strive for fame. I avoid the limelight, preferring to be left alone. Indeed, I seem like an idiot. No mind, no worries. I drift like a wave on the ocean. I blow as aimless as the wind. All men settle down in their grooves. I alone am stubborn and remain outside. But wherein I am most different from others is in knowing to take sustenance from the Great Mother.
Wow, this verse. You know, I thought what you wrote, Chris, and thanks, Chris, for writing our blog post this week. I thought what you wrote in the beginning of your post about emptying your cup and how that, you know, kind of is something that people say when you're supposed to kind of like empty your mind so you can open yourself up to learning, right? And I thought that this kind of fit really well with this verse because he's sitting there talking about giving up learning and freeing yourself from your cares. But what do you guys think that he means by saying give up learning to be free from your cares? I mean, we're not talking about actually, you know, opening yourself to learning something like they say in school. They're talking about something, or he's talking about something kind of different. What do you guys think that he's saying? Anybody want to jump out and share their thought?
Maybe the way I first got the chance to read it this morning because I had been so busy this week. But maybe not so much in learning about like certain specific things, but learning about how to maybe look at life or analyze life, or instead of, you know, trying to see what everybody else is doing and kind of learn to just go with the flow, I guess, maybe, and let nature kind of give you the course that you're supposed to be on. That's kind of a little bit what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think to me it says stop constantly reaching, you know, trying to figure things out, trying to maneuver life through the mind instead of the heart, you know. And I think a lot of us are just stuck in our minds and have these thoughts that kind of drive us instead of just sort of forgetting everything we've learned, because most of it is, as we know, is just not quite accurate. So that's what it says to me.
Yeah, it was an interesting verse as I was reading at work this week, and it's kind of ironic how things unfold a lot of times, and to me is exactly the way I perceived it was just, you know, you just literally have to just forget what you think you know, because you really don't know anything. I mean, although we are intelligent species, we're intelligent people, but we're just, as I said one time before, we're just little peons here on this planet. We're just guests here on this planet. Just poof, just a little poof, and we're gone. And the things that most important to us should take as far. Now, this is just my take on it. Yeah, everybody's got their own preference. Just like a good example, you know, we've all been through things in life. You know, we've all just had, I say, this crap just happened to us. But it's not all doom and gloom, because, you know, we just should be content beings. And I just felt so comfortable in this verse, because it's almost like I was reading this verse to me, you know, not that I'm apart from the world, but sometimes I just take myself out of all the chaos. And then this week for sure I had to, because again, like my little Levi got sick, and I'm telling you now, folks, now that got to me. Now that, you know, I never birthed a child, and I think all of you understand that and know that or heard that, but I got to thinking about moms too. I really appreciate moms. I've said that many times, you know, but I'm thankful for my little Levi, because he helped me to realize that the energy here, there was a verse here, let me read this, and I think this will resonate with what I'm saying here. In this verse, it says, the fact that you're okay without what you think you need. The fact that you're okay to think you're okay without what you need. Well, I went running down to the vet and thought, well, the vet has got the answers. I was shocked, guys, you know, girls. the answer was with me and reaching out to the little group here. My little Levi, he's laying here just as peaceful. He's asleep. That means a lot to me. I mean, just take the little things for granted. There's more to this verse now. It gets a little bit deeper than that, but I mean, you know, we don't know everything.
Speaking? Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay! Sandy, we're in Miami Beach, Florida. Sunny Miami Beach and hot. We have summer already. So yeah, this chapter woke me up again. I mean, I get these reminders all the time because I think in our society we're so focused on the future, and I'm going for this, and I have to get this and this and this, and I'll be happy when I get this. And you know, reading the chapter, it made me see where I'm doing that again. Like, I always get these reminders through the books we read and different things I read and people I follow. You know, how in our society it is much of striving and going after things, and not ever like so much more being in the future than in the present moment. At least I feel that way a lot for myself. So this sort of, I took a few minutes after reading the chapter to just really look at my life lately and how I'm been more in that future-oriented mode and striving for certain things, and remembering these lessons again, to be present, to be grateful for the present, because we do have everything in the present moment. And it reminded me of a quote. I wanted to say something else, but I forget at the moment. But it reminded me of this quote, and I actually just looked it up, and I didn't realize it's Lao-Tzu too, because he was talking about, where Wayne was saying here, change how you see what's here now in your life, for then it will become exactly what you need in order to be happy. In other words, you can change how you look at striving and have contentment without anxiety and fear. And it reminded me of this quote. Some of you may have heard it before. It's pretty popular and floating around out there a lot. And I just looked it up, and it's Lao-Tzu too. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. And you know, when I was thinking about my life and, you know, am I happy in the present moment? I was like, yeah, I am. So why is there this constant reach for, like, I have to have this to be more happy, or this to be more happy, or this to be more successful, or to look good in other people's eyes, or whatever it is that we're always striving for something. And you know, it felt good to actually, after this chapter, to sit for a few minutes and realize I am happy, you know, and in the present moment I have all the things I need. I'm taken care of, like he says, the Mother Earth. How does he say? The Great Mother, you know, provides for us. And, you know, when we take the time to be present, we can see that. And we're always good in the present moment. Everything is okay, and I'm doing good. So, good chapter that made me really slow down and take a look at my life and be grateful for the present moment.
I'll jump back out and piggyback off of what you just said, Sandy, because, like, for me and my beliefs and how, you know, coming from a Christian background, you know, we're taught to believe, you know, that, you know, to strive after materials and things and stuff, there's nothing really wrong with it as long as we have it in the right place and understand what it's about and what it's for, and that we don't let it change our underlying, you know, what we're about, what we're doing with our lives. And sometimes I think we get caught up, everybody gets caught up in that, and, you know, this and that aspects, and then we start comparing ourselves with everybody else and saying, well, do I have this or do that? And rather going back to relying on and my beliefs in God to provide what I need and stuff, you know, that so I'm trying to parallel it here. You know, the universe and the earth and stuff knows a lot of what we need and things like, and stuff, and provide what we need when we're ready to accept it and we're open and we're in the moment to receive it. So why should we be trying to chase after it and enjoy and be in the moments and live in the now because we don't know whether we have tomorrow either. So that's another part of how I kind of look at it after hearing what you said, Sandy.
Yeah, that was similar to a verse that we had recently about staying in the moment or whatever, like a week or two ago. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's so easy to just think about stuff that's in the near future or just like coming up and just occupy your mind, you know, and being in the moment is like really hard. You know, when you said, Samantha, you said, does it mean giving up learning? I totally thought of that little book, The Tao of Pooh, of Winnie the Pooh. And he's just like that, you know, where he's like, he doesn't learn anything. He's just like totally simple and in the moment, you know, so that cute example came to my mind.
I'm going to have to get that book. I've never read The Tao of Pooh, but I've seen it a few times. Just randomly I've come across it thinking, hey, you know, maybe I should grab that, but I just didn't. And but you know what was interesting to me is, you know, I got to thinking about this, and I'm like, on one hand, it seems like he's saying, you know, to be lazy, you know, don't do anything, just kind of go with the flow, and you know, and just see where life leads and all of that kind of thing. And I think that that's interesting in some ways, because what if everything that we thought that we knew was completely wrong? Like if everything that we have been striving for since the beginning of humanity, of building all these things and accumulating all this stuff and gaining power and gaining money and gaining, you know, influence and all of those things, what if that wasn't really what we were on this earth to do? And what if we were to just kind of be like what he's suggesting in here from the beginning? What do you think our whole society would look like now? What if we didn't have to do all of that stuff in order to survive? If we just kind of lived in harmony with nature? And do you think that we would have survived in the same way that we have? Do you think that we'd be, I mean, I just was kind of curious about what would that look like. I don't know. That guys, if that thought came up for you guys, I was like, huh, what if we've just been all wrong? And what would it be like if we all just were like living by the seat of our pants in the moment? I don't know, and not worried about tomorrow. And I don't know. What do you guys think?
I sort of, when I was reading it, I had a little bit of resistance. Like, what am I supposed to just sit around and do nothing? You know, like, so I was like, that sounds lazy. It reminded me actually of one of my ex-boyfriends who I was like always taking care of because he didn't do anything. So I'm like, what does that mean? They're all going to be like him? Like, we're just going to sit around and expect people to take care of us? So yeah, I found some resistance coming up to it too. And like, what does that really mean? And you know, because I think it is part of the human condition too to want things, to want to advance and do things in the world, and you know, strive for things and to becoming better in whatever way that is, and having goals and all that stuff. But like you said, maybe it's not the human thing. It's just how we've been trained to go out there and do this and do that and to get this done. So yeah, it's an interesting question, and I guess there's a fine balance in there somewhere. And apparently it's been for thousands of years, because I guess back when Lao-Tzu was writing this, it was the same kind of thing, people striving and this and that. So yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. You all said that. I was going to say that the same way, but when I started reading this verse, I was thinking, wow, you know, do nothing. You know, that would be easy for a part of, I would say, for me to, you know. But I knew that's because everything we do is not always, you know, out online. It's not always out on Facebook. We are, you know, going back doing different things, and you know, for our survival and all that. But I think, you know, I really believe that our world is just too busy, you know, but that we have no control over that, but we have control, you know, over our environment, and we can slow our thoughts down. I'm still reminded of the book we just previously read. I just keep going back to that book. I just, for some reason, what to say when you talk to yourself. And, you know, we just simply are too, this world, our society is just too chaos. And I seriously believe we as an individual can take what he said in this verse and just use it for us and the readers, or the people that are going to maybe watch this video later on. If you'll take, even if you don't read the book, if you'll just take time to analyze life, that, hey, these material things are really not that important, you know, because they're just not. You know, what's most important is the now. And this is just the now. That's most important.
I was going to jump out, and but it goes along with, you know, a little bit of the point you were making, Donna, that I think, yeah, I think we all get so caught up in all the things and the wants and the needs, but how many times have we heard people have achieved a lot of fame or a lot of things or a lot of, I'm not saying they're bad or good or indifferent, you know, but sometimes, a lot of times, a lot of them have very empty lives too, and we hear about them either, you know, getting caught up in alcohol or this or that or the other. They haven't built their, for lack of a better word, their spiritual foundation or what they're about, and keeping themselves in tune with the universe. And for me, you know, with what I believe, you know, to help keep that balance so that those don't overrun everything in life, and that you do take that time to slow down and enjoy, you know, the things that are important, like family, friends, the now, smelling the roses, sitting in the park, or running around and doing the things that are fun and carefree too, but you learn to balance it and learn to, you know that, kind of like the ant, you know, when there's a time to work, but also when there's a time to, you know, enjoy and be in the moments and be in the now. And I think that's what I'm getting most out of this, is that fine line and the balance. Don't stop doing things and striving, but don't let it be the only focus, the only thing in your life that drives you, keeps you doing, but balancing and taking those times to sit back and recharge and rethink and relax, and, you know, be at one with the universe too.
Yeah, I think this is a really huge topic, especially in the entrepreneurial, you know, work from home or have your own business sort of space that a lot of our followers are in, and most of us here on the panel are in, because, you know, our business mind says go, 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 and, you know, set all these goals, and they have to be very specific, and you got to push, and, you know, and then this other spiritual part of us says just breathe, you know, and it really is a fine line. And I don't think, you know, Sandy, I find myself too, I have to call myself out on this all the time. You know, it's not like I just stay in one spot. I just vacillate, like, back and forth, always looking for that happy medium. I think that intent has a lot to do with things. I mean, if you're just push like a freight train because, you know, you want to be a millionaire in the next 3 months, I think that has a different effect on the universe than if you push because you want to help somebody have clean water to drink or something. You know, I mean, in spirituality, there's this little, and it's sort of a niggly-naggly little thing for me, because there's that so removed position that you can take, you know, as the observer, where nothing really, I don't want to say nothing matters, but there's a very detached place that you can go when looking at things. And I understand being there, and I understand that sometimes it takes that kind of detachment to get through situations. But I also see a huge you know, when you say, well, just don't look at anything negative, because I don't, you know, I don't watch TV and stuff. So, but then that doesn't mean that that shit's not happening out there. That doesn't mean that people aren't suffering, you know. So there's this real catch-22 in my experience about how do you you know, stay detached, but at the same time you have to have compassion for people. Everybody just can't sit back and do nothing, you know, because people are suffering. And so I think if we can just stay spirit-led, you know, get in the moment, check, you know, open your heart, talk to spirit, see what you're being told and follow that, but not letting the monkey mind just control you and drive you with a, you know, with a whip, you know, always checking back into the moment. And you're right, Dan, you know, there's so many famous people that I've heard so many of them say it, you know, I wish I could just tell people that all that stuff that you're striving for, when you get it, you're going to find out that's not it, you know. So there's a lot to be said for really examining yourself and figuring out why do you want to accomplish those things. And if it's to be happy, then just be happy now, because like they say, you can go through all that striving and get there and still not be happy. So that's always a choice you can make at any part of the journey.
That's some great points. A lot of similar stuff that I was having on my mind, you know, about like the intention behind and, you know, going more like from a giving place, like rather than wanting $1 million for me, and my house and this and that. Like if your intention is to give it to somebody, or, you know, to better the water or whatever, then you'll receive that and receive in return just from the Great Mother. And you know, I was talking before about having, you know, appreciating what you have now and gratitude, and some of that came because I was watching this movie last night called the Abundance Factor, and they talk a lot about what makes people happy, like what is happiness. I was talking a lot about all these things. I think it's still free. I'll post the link here and on the page, but it's free to watch, I think, till tomorrow or something. So yeah, I'll post it here. But it had some great points in it about happiness and what makes someone abundant is not necessarily, of course, money, but just being in that energy, like of gratitude and love and those higher vibration energies. You are just naturally the energy of abundance. Even if you're poor somewhere, you could have this energy of abundance and draw things to you. And so, yeah, I'll share the link.
Yeah, definitely, Sandy. I would like to watch that. That would be wonderful. Yeah, it brings me back to that section in the verse where it says, should I fear desolation when there is abundance? And he's, you know, I feel like he's talking about, you know, we live in this abundance world, and yet we kind of get it in our mind that if we don't go, that we're going to be desolated, right? You know, that we're going to be destroyed in some way because we didn't work so hard to accomplish all of these things that we think that we should know, or we think that we should do. And, you know, and I feel like that's why he's asking these questions. You know, what's the difference between yes and no? What's the difference between good and evil? And I think he's trying to get us to think about, you know, is what we've been taught really the truth? Is that really as necessary as what we think it is? Or is it more like everybody's been saying, is try to, you know, allow yourself to be more spirit-led? And, you know, of course, when I was reading this verse and I had the thoughts from previously, I also was brought to mind of, you know, some of the indigenous tribes that are still living, you know, basically the way that they've always lived for hundreds of thousands of years, and they've not kind of moved forward along with the rest of society, and yet they're perfectly fine. You know, they're well taken care of. Me, like if the Native American, you know, that kind of way of living way back when, of you know, it wasn't like they weren't working to take care of themselves. You know, obviously they were, but yet they were living more in harmony with nature versus trying to overcome nature, like I think that our society is kind of trained to do. And you know, so, but I also was thinking, you know, about all the animals and the birds, and, you know, I mean, all of nature in general, of how it's not that it's not doing anything, it's definitely doing something, but it's living more in harmony with nature and just doing what it feels compelled to do. And that's kind of what I wonder, if that's what we should be doing as well, is not thinking so far ahead and just kind of being in the moment and focusing on being happy, like what Catherine was saying. If you want to be happy, then focus on being happy, and what makes you happy right now. What is it that seems to be the thing that you feel like you should be doing right now, because that is making you happy in the moment, versus sitting there focusing on, okay, well, if I get to this, you know, income goal, or I get my RV, or I get a new house, or whatever, then I'll be happy. I think that we've been kind of taught that, you know, we can't be happy unless we accomplish these things. So that was kind of my thought on that. But I don't know, I thought that it was just really interesting where he's talking about most people have too much, and I alone seem to be missing something. And I think that he thinks that he probably looks like he's missing something, but he knows in his own heart that he's not. He's not missing anything. But I don't know, what else do you guys think about it?
I think it's funny you were talking about that, because I was kind of looking through the actual chapter and came across the second paragraph in the book, and he says, "Be here in your mind as well as in your body, in a state of appreciation and absence of longing. Let go of wondering about doing the right thing. Release the what-ifs and all of your goals for the future, replacing them with the power of this instant. Be here and remember to do it now. For thinking about being someplace else uses up your precious present moments. The enlightened sage makes a practice of immersing himself completely in the current nowness of life," and he has nowness in quotes. So I think you were just hitting it right there on the head, that, you know, if we start worrying, and as Sandy said earlier, worrying about the past or worrying about the future, we're taking up what's happening now, what's going on now, and in the beauty of what is happening and going on around us, and to appreciate and enjoy and let that fill us up, and to help us give us purpose towards working towards the future for whatever our future may have, and it may help guide us towards the future. But if we don't take in the now and what's happening now, we might miss out on something that could point us or help us towards our future too. I think that's something that I just picked up personally just in hearing what you said and then looking at the second paragraph.
Well, and it's a huge, sort of a really early lesson on the law of attraction too, because
Yeah, you know, the poetry is so sophisticated. Supposedly Lao-Tzu was like 81 when he wrote this. What's that? My bad.
go ahead there.
Go ahead.
That's all right. Go ahead, hon.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no. You know, supposedly Lao-Tzu was pretty old, and you know, he represented like a real kind of a hermit wanderer, and highest among like esoteric thought. So this the writing seems kind of like, it's almost like a poem. It's certainly poetic, you know, and he seems to be saying it very easy. Oh, I'm not worrying about anything. He says, I'm a newborn babe before it learns to smile. Uh, you know, but he also says, mine is indeed the mind of an ignoramus in its unadulterated simplicity. But an ignoramus doesn't know the word unadulterated. So, you know, he's smarter than he leads on here.
You know, Chris, I think that,
That's all.
you know, in my opinion, when he says those things, like he says, you know, I alone seem to be missing something, or, you know, my mind is an ignoramus, I think that he's kind of referring to what other people would call him based on what they think or what the world says he would look like. I mean, that's kind of my thought on it, is that, you know, just like, I mean, when we in general in society, we, you know, as soon as we see like a homeless person, we automatically make these assumptions about that person, or anyone for that matter. A lot of times, I mean, no matter who we come across, we kind of have these stereotypical ideas of what's in our brain, of what we think that person is going through, or what we think we know about that person, and we don't know a dang thing, you know. But yet, you know, we could be coming across somebody who no, it was like, well, with me, you know, when we were doing the full-time RVing thing, and I know there was people sitting there looking at us going, what the hell are they doing living in a camper? You know, there's something wrong with them, you know. And so I kind of wonder if that's kind of what his meaning was, is when he says those things. It's not like he's, you know, insulting himself or talking down about himself. He's talking in the way of, this is what the world thinks, but yet they just don't even realize this is what's really going on, you know, and they need to wake up. They're the ones. I don't know. That's my thought on it. But you know, one of the other things that came up for me as far as Lao-Tzu goes is, you know, he's talking like this, and we're instantly kind of having that idea of, you know, a lazy person, because that's kind of the way that we've been taught. And yet at the same time, we know he wasn't just doing nothing. I mean, he wrote this book. He wrote all these verses, right? So he's doing something, and whatever it is, he's feeling compelled to do it, and it's something that has, you know, stood the test of time and lasted, and it's affected millions of people over all of these thousands of years. And so I think that's kind of a lesson in and of itself too. It's like, you know, just because you aren't doing what society thinks you should be doing doesn't mean that you aren't doing something very, very powerful in the world and in some way, right? I mean, that was my thought. Jump back out, Catherine. I know that I think that you and Chris kind of had a delay over each other.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit of a delay here with the internet. Sorry about that, Chris. I think it's I agree with everything you just said, Samantha. You know, it's many times in my life, and I don't know if it's just like a past life, concurrent life thing going on or what, but there's just been many times where I thought I would really serve the world more by just shutting everything down and just staying in a place of prayer and peace in my heart constantly. You know, I really feel like that would serve better sometimes than all these other things that I try to do in my life. But then I see hungry people or something, and then I'm like, okay, prayer, we got to have something more. Although you know that we don't, because, you know, I'm always amazed, how did I even make it survive through every day of the last 52 years? It like blows my mind when I think about it. Obviously not by my own actions. We're all very well taken care of, but I think in a way this verse is, and a lot of these verses are sort of an early lesson on the law of attraction, because I found this out with my health. You know, I went through a period of time where I was really focused on healing. You know, this is wrong with my body and I need to heal it. And what I found by being in that place is that my body kept manifesting things that needed to be healed, which I didn't expect. You know, so I think we have to get out of that place of wanting or needing or striving for, just to get us out of that vibration so that things can actually come to us. In other words, I found with my health that I need to focus on wellness, not on healing, and it's two completely different vibrations. And I think this speaks a little bit to that, to stay in the present moment and not always be in that wanting, needing, striving energy, because it actually blocks the flow of those things to you. So to be in the moment, to be in that content place that happy place in our heart, regardless of what's going on around us, what we have, what we don't have. Because when it all, I mean, if you really boil it down and you lose all those things, which I have, you know, several times in my life, all you really have is yourself and God, and how you know, how you choose to feel regardless of those outside circumstances. That's really all you have when you boil it down, is choice. Even if you're hungry, you know, you have the choice to be focused on being hungry, or you have the choice to be focused on you know, using that energy of being hungry to accomplish something else. So I think we it's hard, though. It's really, really hard to stay out of that striving and thinking that we have to provide. It's one of those things, again, where you're constantly, or at least I am constantly, having to pull myself in, you know, in and out of that energy, because I'll just suddenly realize, oh yeah, there I am striving again. And then I have to pull myself back and get in the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. Sandy, were you saying something? Now I had a quick note. I had wrote it down and I almost forgot it. I said, Catherine just she was all over my little note. I said, let me find my little note. I scribbled on a piece of paper at work when I was, you know, this big old storm was coming up this week. It was electricity of lightning all over the place, and I don't know, you know, and our minds are just so. But everybody just touched in on my little note here from the beginning of this: speed versus wealth. That just popped into my mind when I was reading this verse too. Speed versus wealth. We've come through a time of just pure, I mean, it's like speed, as everything's fast. And wealth, and there's nothing wrong, you know, and if you hear us say, and I'll be quick with this, if you hear us talk about money, especially talk about, I don't hate money, you know, definitely we all need money, but what do we want money for? We want money like we all touched in on here for. We all work jobs. We all got businesses or opportunities. I like opportunity. That's my favorite right there. But what do we want the money for? We want it for choices. We don't necessarily want it for things, you know, like, or at least I can speak for myself. It's not necessarily the fancy stuff. We want money to help the less fortunate, you know. That's what you want money for. And when you got all, and we all have this potential, and as I wrote here in this little note, and Catherine just said it, pull back. Why do we pull back? There's a good reason we have to pull back sometimes. That means sometimes you just need to quit. Now, I'm not saying quit and give up on life. Understand, I know sometimes when I say my words, but sometimes you need to quit on yourself inside, pull back, analyze things. Speed versus wealth. See where you're at. What do you want the money for? People has this misconception of all of the riches. They've got that thing just a mess. Let's put it that way. But God has supplied every need that we have. If you really think about it, the good master. Just like Catherine there in her situation. Now my situation, everybody's situation is different. Issues are different. I don't know what it's like to be on the street. I can't relate with that. I don't know what it's like not to have anything to eat. I mean, I just feel so, not bragging, but guys, I'm just so blessed. I don't know how all that, you know, but I'll leave it at that. Be thankful for the now. God has got it. He's got us. He's got us.
Yeah. Awesome points, Donna. Yeah, and I liked what you were saying too, Catherine. It made me think about these questions, you know, because we're all in business, a lot of us for ourselves, and so we have this aspect where we strive for our business and for that's part of the territory that comes with it. So it's easy to lose our focus and gets into that mode of like striving. But I was listening to a series last week, and this question came to me. In the series, they say, like, put a Post-it note somewhere that you see it, like on your computer, so you see it like a few times a day at least. And the question is, what's the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? So it could be something as simple as like, oh, I should just stand up for a couple minutes and stretch, or go get a glass of water. Like, it could be so simple, like go brush my hair. I don't know, just so you're paying more attention to yourself and giving yourself love, rather than getting stuck in these modes that we get stuck in throughout the day. And so I was thinking, when you were talking, Catherine, about how we can lose our focus and lose that vibration, those higher vibrations of joy and gratitude and happiness. Like, we could ask questions, maybe Post-its through the day that remind us to maybe take a step back and find that balance again. Like, what can I be happy about right now, or what can I find that I'm grateful for right now, or joyful about right now, just so we can have those reminders throughout the day. Because I know I have days go by where I'm probably in striving mode for 5 days straight and haven't even thought of something I'm grateful of for 5 days. And it's like, I I think just to even give gratitude to the universe and creator or God or whatever, the mother, whatever you call it, if I feel like I'm not even being grateful for that, if I'm going 5 days straight not being grateful for something, because every time we're grateful for something, the universe hears us and responds to that energy. So I'm going to make those Post-it notes after the hangout and stick them up here.
I like what you were saying, Sandy. I think it's good to have those reminders, because I think we do all get caught in those modes and those things of what's going on and stuff. I have a couple of Post-its at work to remind me of certain things and stuff that my boss looks for in things that we do in our job, and I had not incorporated all these particular little things, and that basically it's called tick, tie, look, and and we verify. Basically it's certain things for doing accounting journals and entries and stuff like that, and rather than to just put through things and have things thinking that we have it right, no, go back, look at it, tick it, tie it to what we're doing, make sure that we're actively taking those. So I didn't have those steps on a little note on my computer. I have that now, and I constantly see that as a reminder. Oh, throughout the day, am I doing these steps? Well, this can be the same thing to apply to us, and it starts becoming part of that normal thing that we do. We see it all the time, so when we get to our computer, it's like, oh yeah, I haven't done this today, or I haven't done that, And in the mode of what we're doing, we can also take those brief moments and step back and be in that now moment and say, okay, what can I do now to be grateful or thankful, or what can I do for myself, after I get this task done, or something like that. And I think that's a great way of looking at it to help us stay in the now moments too, as well as working towards whatever we're trying to accomplish too.
I think that if we need to we need to redefine our definition of success. I mean, obviously we all have a different definition, but most people's definition includes a lot of striving, a lot of, stuff like that. And I think just being in that place of gratitude, Sandy, like you said, one of the things that I do every night, like when I finally turn everything off and I'm laying there quiet trying to go to sleep, I go through the things that I'm grateful for, and then when I get up in the morning, I start my day with gratitude. So I always end my day and start my day with gratitude. And even if it could be like, it's chilly this morning here, literally, so I've got this heater kicking on over here. So even if it's just for that, just being in that place of feeling fulfilled, rather than from a place of want or lack. And if I think somehow, I don't know, the universe just responds to that and just gives you more things to be grateful for. I don't really understand how it works. I just know that when I focus on these things, I tend to get more good things. And if you can write them out, that's even better. Like, I'm really bad about writing stuff out. But there is something to be said for handwritten things. So it's even better if you can remember to write your gratitude out in the morning or evening or whenever, instead of just saying it mentally. But still, I think the things that we take for granted here, I mean, we're just so spoiled. Like you said, Dan, we're so spoiled here. You know, we're all here live on the internet talking to each other, and you know, there's people walking 5 miles for water right now. So I give gratitude every day for all the people that are out there doing their 9-to-5s that they probably hate, you know, so that I can be here with electricity, you know, with heat to talk to you guys. I'm really grateful to all the people that do all those jobs that I don't want to do. Like, I know that sounds bad, but it's the truth.
That reminded me, you know, I used to write gratitudes down years ago, and I have the little journal I found recently of it, and, you know, I remember how powerful it was, but then I somehow got out of it, and then, excuse me, I don't know what is in my throat right now, but in the Abundance movie, the Abundance Factor movie that I sent the link for, Bob Proctor had mentioned every morning writing down 10 things you're grateful for. He said, definitely write them down. It's important that you write them, not just say them. And then he said, send love to 3 people who are bothering you, you know, like people that you have in your mind that are sort of, you know, they're on your mind and they're bothering you in your mind, and send them love. And then sit for 5 minutes quietly. I like that he said just sit quietly for 5 minutes. He didn't say meditate, because I think, you know, sitting quietly isn't as intimidating, I guess, to a lot of people. A lot of people, well, I don't know how to meditate, but it is the same thing, just sit quietly. So I like that he said just sit quietly for 5 minutes. And then after that, you ask for guidance for the day, or what's my direction today, and just see if you get an answer. And so I did it this morning, and yeah, it felt really good. So I think it's something I'm going to start incorporating again, because you definitely feel the difference when you are writing the gratitudes out. And yeah, I feel great today. So I think it's from that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Sandy. And Catherine also, actually, for everybody sharing that, everything that they've shared today. I think that that is really helpful. And, you know, I brought to mind one of the things, you know, that just as an example of one of those ways that we ruin our own present moment. And, yeah, we have this trucking business that we're working on getting going, and it's been raining a whole bunch recently, which has stopped the work. It has made it so that we, you know, aren't able to do anything. And so here I am sitting here worrying about, you know, the insurance bill that's coming up soon, and then we gotta get the plates because, you know, the truck we just bought has temporary plates on it, so I'm worried about that, and I'm thinking about the bills that are coming due, and you know, and all these different factors involved with that. And of course, you know, that is taking away from my present moment, right? You know, because if I'm sitting there thinking about those things that I can't do a dang thing about, right? You know, right at this moment, then I'm taking away from my own personal peace. And I, you know, and so when we realize what we're doing to ourselves, you know, if there's something that we can't do anything about, what's the point of sitting there thinking about it? When we can just relax and let go. It's like in this chapter, Wayne talks about let go and let God, you know, let God handle it. And, you know, it's all going to work out the best way it's going to work out for us anyway. And there's no sense in us just sitting here, you know, stressing about it when there's nothing we can do anyhow. So I just thought that was a kind of just a good example of one way that we'll just sit there and do that to ourselves for no really good reason. So anyway, guys, anybody have any just final thoughts before we wrap up today? We're almost at the top of the hour. You guys want to jump out and share a final? Are you talking, Chris? We can't hear you. Let me see if I can unmute you. Maybe. I don't know. No.
He doesn't look muted to me, but
Yeah, it doesn't look like me.
I see two of them. One, it doesn't look muted, and the other one is saying muted, and so I don't know.
Yeah, the one he's talking on is muted on my end.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nope. Sorry, we can't hear you, Chris. Well, thanks for trying. Okay, anybody else final thoughts?
I'll jump out. I'll just say that, I like the idea, of where you were talking about. I think Sandy and you, Samantha, both said that, talking about writing things down. I know for me personally, when I write things down better, I connect with them better and they stick in my head better, so they stay with me better, and I tend to act upon them that way. If I just think about it, it becomes a fleeting thought, or something like that, and so it kind of loses its power for me. So I think for me that's, and something I've done in the past. I've journaled in the past, but I haven't, done a lot, some gratefulness journals and things like that. But I have seen some of the power in that, looking back and realizing how blessed I am, and realizing it's been in those moments when I've just been in the moment have seemed to be the best moments, and I felt the most at peace and felt the most joy and felt the most useful, for lack of a better word, towards whatever I was needing to do, rather than when I've been striving, trying to push, because I think, this is what needs to be done. And then here I see these moments, and it's like, oh, well, if I just kind of lay back and let go and be in the moments and not worry about it so much and let things happen, still plan for them, but let them happen rather than try and force it into my cookie cutter shape of what I think it, always turns out better when I just kind of let it go. And because when I do stay in that mode and force it, it never works out quite the way I want it to. So that's, I think, what I'm getting out of this is being in the now, and, it doesn't mean stop growing, stop learning, start, or even stop living. It just means be and be aware and be present and accept them and enjoy it, I think, is what I get out of it.
Yeah, I'll go. So my final thought, and I'm gonna have to go and take care of my baby there. But listen, guys, it's been a great call, and I really believe this. If we strive for anything, we should strive always to stay as much as we can in the present tense, the present now, because as they say, yesterday's gone, and tomorrow's a gift which has not gotten here for us yet. But it's a gift for us, and each day is a good day. And if anybody will learn anything, learn this from people when they say something. It's not so much as what we do. Our potential is not so much as for us. It's to give away to help maybe you out there that's watching this. It's to help you to understand that we're human beings just like you are. We have egos. Everybody has an ego, but what we have to do is strive to be that person of what can I do now? What can I do? And don't never be afraid to ask. Just like yesterday when I was, my pride was a little bit getting in the way. It was just me, and I was struggling. I was striving with my situation. But when I reached out and asked for help, there it was right there. And I know Catherine's probably gone, but I thank her for what she did. And I thank the Almighty Mother, the Almighty God, for touching me and my dog. Everybody's got that closeness of something. I mean, it's important to you. That was important to me. That was happening right then. And today, he's much better. I'm much better. You see why the difference of a moment of a now, and it's a powerful presence. That's just a powerful place to be in, is in the now. I just wanted to share that, and it was a great discussion. Loved it. Got to go take care of him now. Everybody have a good day. Thank you. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed it.
Ciao, Donna. I'll just close with, I mean, this quote always reminds me of Wayne Dyer, let go and let God. I know he says that a lot, and it's it's perfect all the time to hear that. I just love it. Let go and let God. So just close with that. And also, he writes this affirmation here. I am letting go and letting God. I am a glorious infant nursing at the great, all-providing mother's breast. And I think, you know, and do the Tao now is a good one. Like maybe for the next week until the next hangout, like really take time to notice the situations where you're not in the moment because you're striving to complete or attain something for a future benefit. So I'm going to really be on top of that and making my Post-it notes right now. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Ciao.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us today, and thanks everyone for adding and sharing their insights with us as well. We all learn and grow together so much better when we share what we learn and we share our own insights with each other, because then we gain that knowledge from another person, and that's why we do this hangout every Saturday morning. So guys, meet us back here every week, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can meet us at SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. If you like this video, please give us a like on YouTube, share it, connect with us on Twitter and Google+. You'll find Mindset Mastery Collective. That's who you'll be looking for. And that's it for today. Have a great day and an awesome and amazing weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.